What's going on, y'all? Um, I just want to talk to y'all about this march. Um, I had been saying it for a while. Other people in the streets I had been talking to for a while had been talking about the need for another march on Washington. For whatever movement was going to come, whatever, whoever's going to get the traction, all that. um, Before Corona really popped off and started shutting everything down, this is what people were talking about, especially with everything that was going on in politics and people talking about a black agenda and all these different things. But when I would talk to different black people on the street, um, that was something that I heard a lot. But man, it's time for another march on Washington, man. We just gotta show up in numbers and unity and blah blah blah. Now all these people, um, some of them, most of them were ADOS, some of them were not. Um, but it doesn't matter. They're right. Whatever you think of what these marches on Washington, Million Man March, Justice Sales Rally, whatever you think about the results, the fact of the matter is they did cause change. They did bring awareness and attention to a lot of different things. Yes, we can look back and say that some of the movements, or most of the movements that came out of these marches, for the most part, did not do what we need them to do as ADOS people. But again, that's with us knowing what we know now, having the data and the knowledge that we have now, and being able to make that assessment. But they didn't know. Those people didn't know. A lot of them didn't know what they were doing was not going to work. They didn't. They didn't have that idea. There are a few who were active agents and knew they were misleading us, but that wasn't the majority. Those people were doing what they thought was right for us out of the goodness of their heart. But with that being said, regardless of what you think about those movements, like if ADOS has the right formula, if ADOS is the movement, if this is the ultimate movement that black people, black Americans need to know about and be a part of, then there's no excuse for us not to be at a gathering of people that large, regardless of who threw it together, who put it together. ADOS cannot get a gathering of people that large. ADOS can't get a gathering of 10,000 people right now to show up in one spot, let alone a million. So you show up and you have your signs and your t-shirts and your hats and your whatever else, your flyers, your posters, your flag. There's cameras everywhere. There's microphones everywhere. People are taking pictures everywhere. You want to flood the news and the media with your presence. Like, you have to take advantage of a situation like this. You cannot get caught up on, well, we didn't put it together, so we're not gonna. No, that's not how it works. You're never gonna put it together. If it's up to us, we're never gonna put that together. That event is not coming. We're not putting a million people in Washington, a million strong ADOS only people. That's not happening. So that's fairy tale. Like, we have to take advantage of what is out there for us. We have to take advantage of what is presented. Um, this is a once in a decade or longer event. This one is actually ahead of schedule because the Justice Else rally was only what, 2014, 2015, so it's only been 5 or 6 years. But that's different. The last time that happened was in the early '90s, the original Million Man March, or whatever, the first whatever. It's been a few marches, but the Million Man March, the modern day one that counted up until the Justice Sales rally. Um, but yeah, man, talk to me, help me. I don't get it. If this is supposed to be Project Takeover, does Project Takeover just apply to organizations, black civic organizations and black churches? But we're not gonna take over their events. We're not gonna show up at their events because churches throwing events. You want to take over the church, but they throwing an event. You're not gonna show up at the event they throwing with your stuff on and giving people the message. Well, we didn't throw it. Same thing. The NAACP throwing events. They out here marching in the streets with people now, having marches. They just had a peaceful artistic march the other day. Was ADOS out there? You don't have to march with them. You don't have to say that you with the NAACP. But if it's cameras and media there, you need to take advantage of the camera and media, the cameras and media, and the microphones and the cell phones that are out there, and get your message spread. So like I said, I've been in this space. I have seen grassroots organizations catch fire from marches, rallies, etc. Um, a march on Washington is the Super Bowl of activism and advocacy. If you're not there, you are willingly sabotaging yourself and shooting yourself in the foot. Um, so yeah, give me your thoughts. Because like I say, it doesn't have to be everybody. I don't expect people to empty their bank accounts to get to Washington D.C. But there should be enough ADOS within a few hours drive or closer that can get to Washington D.C. on that day. We got 2 months that can plan to get there that day, whether it's 100 of us, 500 of us, 1,000 of us, whatever. But if we organize now, we can have a showing. And that's all I'm saying. But again, I'm not nobody boss. I'm just giving y'all my point of view based on my experience from being in this activism space, in this advocacy space. If y'all got the right formula, show up. Y'all got the right recipe, show up. Give it to people. They're not coming to you to get it. You got to put it in their hands.